This is my E&L AKM. It's mostly bone stock internal. We did a Gate Titan upgrade. I think we put a Mad Bull bucking in here. Obviously, I have the wood dong because this gives me the free attachment under the militia rule, and Isaiah custom angry attached this rail segment onto the dong so I could run my IR laser for night vision. I have run this AK throughout its different evolutions and generations to every Milsim West I've been to, with the exception of the first one, which is an Insurgency. That's where I have the KWAT-10. Every Milsim West event since that, again, with the exception of my blank fire also, which is an M4 that I'm working on changing, I have been running this airsoft gun exclusively. Changing my background up now so you can see my AK section. These two sections right in here are the E&L Arcturus under the MOS company, and these two guys are my remaining LCTs. I no longer sell CYMA AKs. You will not find them in my store anymore. After I sell these two LCTs, you will never see them in my store again. The only AKs I will sell are Arcturus, E&L, and Specna. That's different. Starting with CYMA, which was kind of the starter AK for everyone. It was still entry level around that 180 to 210-ish price range, and it was a metal, all the way metal. It was metal receiver and all that stuff. CYMA did a really good job at creating different body kits. So they kept using the same not so great stock internals, but they would have all these different colors, rail styles, stocks, the FSB, kind of that quad rail style, all those cool different options. But the stock internals over time were kind of garbage. LCT did the same thing. So really, you could kind of say, you could make a very generic broad brush statement to say that LCT AKs are just CYMAs with way better internals. Now, the LCT internals are amazing. They're really good. Leaps and bounds better than CYMA. Again, what LCT did was they just used the same basic gearbox and built all these different guns with these different stocks and rails and handguards and blah, 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 blah. What neither of them really did was work on the internals of the gun. So addressing Specna real quick, Specna is now exclusively what I push towards my beginner kids. So the only 200 and under AKs that I will sell are the Specnas. The one criticism that you could make for the Specna AKs is that it's not a complete metal AK. The rail cover, the dust cover part, this guy on a CYMA is metal, but the receiver for the under 200 models is polymer. But I would argue that if you are the customer that is looking to buy an AK that is under $220, you're not yet at the level to where you're ready to jump into like a $300 gun, like an LCT, or even like the high twos, like the E&Ls, the AKMs, so on and so forth. So I would argue that it doesn't matter on the entry level side. It doesn't matter because the person that wants the entry level AK isn't ready to dip their toe in and start spending real money anyway, because they're probably a beginner. A beginner doesn't really need a $280, $300 gun. Now we switch over to what Arcturus and E&L are doing. So whereas CYMA LCT were making all these different designs and all these different rifles, but not really doing squat to the internals, E&L and Arcturus are the opposite. They don't make as many different variations as LCT, but they kick the internals in the ass. What's really impressed me, specific to the Arcturus AKs, is they will come pre-installed with a Perun MOSFET with the P-Run. That is the last AK you would ever need. Here's what would usually happen with the average CYMA AK user. They'd buy the gun for $200 to $250, depending on the exteriors that's in the furniture and stuff. And then they would basically, over time or at once, rip the guts out and completely do like a whole new engine swap. So guys because they used to come in here and do that. They'd buy like the basic $200-ish, like the CYMA AK-105, or the 74U or whatever. They'd immediately get a 13.1 motor or an 18.1 motor, like an 18K motor with like 13.1 gears, and they would just have us blow the internals away. Or you could have just bought a damn E&L or an Arcturus and just done the same thing, and it would have been cheaper because these are great ass guns. Arcturus motors and E&L motors are fine. You don't have to really do anything to them. The gears are fine. The internals are fine. Why do you think some of these guns that come pre-installed with either a Perun or a Gate Aster, so the E&Ls will come with a Gate Aster if you want that upgrade. The Arcturuses come with the Perun because the Arcturus gearboxes are smaller, or basically not the same size as the E&L gearboxes. So Gate Titans, Gate Asters will not physically fit into an Arcturus AK. Does that make sense? So why would you spend all this money when you could have just bought something quality up front anyway? Arcturus makes the 105 style. They do a great job with it. E&L, in my opinion, makes the best vintage style AKs, and they make so many of them. Again, I've had the AKM, and the only thing I've done is upgrade the bucking and add a Gate Titan, and we're good. Plus the external stuff. The other thing that MOS is not getting credit for. So MOS owns Arcturus, and then like an optic company and some other companies under MOS manufacturing, but they're also a huge distributor, and I guess like homies with E&L. So E&L is not actually owned by MOS. Arcturus is. Getting back to it. What MOS does better than CYMA and LCT is they are part of the community. MOS has an LA-based office. I know those guys. MOS has employed a former U.S. infantry veteran. He doesn't like camera stuff, so I'm not going to tell you what Kevin's name is. MOS has hired veterans. MOS is all over the community, doing giveaways to fields, setting up booths, going to events, doing all these things to give back to the community. When was the last time CYMA or LCT did anything like that? Oh wait, they're overseas based. I'm not saying they don't want to do that. I'm saying I know with certainty MOS is doing that. MOS was at Milsim West in Insurgency. Apparently, I tried to save the vice president of the company's life in-game. He got shot. He was an FSB operative with Sean. They went on a night raid. He got shot. I went, no, we must save the FSB, for we are Russian friendly. I tried to put a tourniquet on him, and I got shot in the leg for my efforts. That dude was the vice president of MOS. His name's Toby. Really nice guy. Didn't know that at the time. Thought that was really cool, actually. Hi, Toby. MOS AKs are the last AKs you will ever need to buy, and you really don't need to upgrade them past what they can already come pre-upgraded with. Look, man, once you get sort of some time in the game, you know the only real major upgrade to keep you playing is like maybe like a Gate Titan or some sort of MOSFET. The Arcturus rifles will even come with Arcturus MOSFETs, and you can run an 11-volt battery just fine. You don't have to spend a stupid amount of money for a quality gun that's going to last you years and years. Now, I'm not talking about like, oh, I want a DSG because I want it to go fast, even though I don't really need that for any practical reasons. I just want to go just cuz. No. This Arcturus AK-12 right here, I'm selling it for $475. It's the AK-12 steel body, comes pre-installed with a Perun. That's it. That's kind of all you need, especially for something as intense as a Milsim West event. Maybe you could upgrade the bucking if you wanted a stiffer bucking. That's a reasonable thing to do, but what is that? 12, 15, 20 bucks? Something like that. The big thing for me as a retailer is I want to see what else I'm getting for my money. Remember, I've done videos where event support is big for me. MOS is coming to Homefront. I'm stupid excited for that because it means I get to hang out with my friends again. That is something I would ask players to start considering when they're buying, especially if they're buying online and they don't have the ability or the time to go in store and talk to the nerds behind the counter that will tell you, like, here's exactly why we sell certain things and why we don't sell certain things. I sell exclusively, with the exception of Specna, for mid and high tier airsofters. I will exclusively sell MOS products, not only because they're quality and they can come pre-upgraded, which means my guys can get back to other tech jobs that we have in the queue, but they also support the friggin' community. Something that all you dorks talk about all the time, yet I don't really see a whole lot of guys like, oh, let's support the community. Didn't you spend a bunch of money, like, with this online website? Yeah, but I saved $5. Why didn't you just go to the store 20 minutes away from you? Well, I wanted to save $5. Look, dummy, if you want to support the community, here's a way to do it. You support the companies that have an office based in the US. And when it comes to AKs, it's MOS Manufacturing. It's E&L and Arcturus. I'm telling you, from being in the game since 2016, these are the best AKs that you can buy for your money. For me, they do have product superiority over LCT because you can buy them pre-upgraded with either a Perun or an Aster, as I've already said. LCT doesn't do that. Plus the community support. LCT doesn't do that. But what do I know, right? I'm just like the only field and store owner that's giving their opinions on things. Bro, I'm not even a real nerd. I don't go to Milsim West events. I don't go to out-of-state Milsim West events. I don't go to all these other Milsim events. I don't openly talk about about money things. I'm just a silly nerd, right? Don't listen to me. I don't know anything.